A very warm welcome to all of you who have tuned in, and a special warm welcome, of course, to Abu Kurke Kebato, our main guest of this event. Um, yeah, let me introduce briefly Abu, but also the reason for this interview. Abu is has become a friend actually, but he is living in the Netherlands for more than 5 years now. I think 6 years, or maybe even longer. Maybe you can tell later, Abu. And he is a Dutch national at the moment, and he is coming from Ethiopia. And Abu undertook a journey. He departed from Libya in 2011 during the war in Libya, where the NATO intervention took place. And he undertook a journey in an overcrowded dinghy, which came into trouble at the Mediterranean Sea. And this boat has become famous as the Left to Die boat. They drifted for 15 days at sea. The Mediterranean Sea, which was very well surveyed at the moment because of the NATO intervention, many actors saw them screaming for help, and no one went to the rescue. And that means that in the end, 63 of the people have died, and the rest of them have been drifted back towards Libya, and they ended up at the Libyan shores. Abu was one of the survivors of this tragic incident, and a year later, as a member of the Parliamentary Assembly, I met him in order to do an investigation on who was responsible for this failure to act. It ended up in a resolution and a report which was broadly supported with a lot of recommendations. We repeated that 2 years later to see what happened with these recommendations. And it was clear it was a collective responsibility and a collective failure. Since then, the policies have not improved, to be honest. Actually, the policies have become more organized, more deliberate in order to prevent responsibility for refugees and migrants coming to the EU. And this has also led to an increase of the so-called migration deals with third countries, including Libya, although we know how difficult the situation is for migrants and refugees, how badly they are treated. A few weeks ago, my report in the European Parliament has been adopted on human rights aspects of migration deals. The European Parliament calls for taking much more responsibility and to make sure that human rights are respected if the EU enters into cooperation with migration, on migration with third countries. And Abu was in Libya as well for a few years before he departed from Libya in order to head to Europe. And therefore, Abu is the ideal guest, because I would really like to hear from them what it meant to live in Libya and to live and work there as a migrant, and how it was both inside and outside detention centers. Because Abu, you have worked there, you have lived there, and can you tell something about, well, the way you worked and lived there and how you were treated by the government?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. I'm really happy to meet you here. It is very hard to explain about the life in Libya. The staying in Libya is the worst in my life, let's say, and moreover, the life in Libya detention was like hell, let's say, and we were put in the hole. We were put in the hole with a lot of people, and I still feel very, very bad. And when I remember this situation, especially And I never thought I will get out of that detention alive. However, when the protest, let's say in Benghazi, the how you call it, the Arab Spring, where we were let's say we were released on that situation. It was 2011. We were released actually to support their protest, to be, let's say, part of their protest. It was That was the way we were released. And let's say when we get out, so the government said, okay, you guys need to support the Gaddafi regime. So if you support us, and then you guys are get released. So that was how life in Libya, and it is very hard for me, to explain. It is very very hard to work or to live over there. There is no or human rights is not respected over there, and the life was very very difficult. You
So,
cannot, yeah.
so actually, you were used by Gaddafi, but you also run the risk of being attacked by the opposition of Gaddafi because they saw you as hirelings.
Exactly. Is Yeah. When we were in detention center, so we don't know what is happening outside, and so uh, there are a lot of people in the hall. Let's say small, very very small room. Too much people inside. We go outside like only for 20 half an hour times just to go outside. So all the days we are inside. So it was surprise, let's say, when they opened the door, and there are like more than 2,000 prisoners, and especially most of the people are Libyans. Those people from Benghazi, were detained by Gaddafi regime. So it was just surprise. So one of just officer from the regime, Gaddafi regime, come in, and he bring all the people outside, and he talk to the people, and he say that yeah, we need we will release you if you support our regime, let's say Gaddafi. And yeah, the message was clear, and if you don't do that, it was very hard. So we have no choice. So we decide to
Yeah.
say, they give us some papers with what we have to say outside. Imagine like 2,000, more than 2,000 people going on the streets supporting Gaddafi for them was it's like very very important to do that. So that is the
Yeah,
way
you
I
were
was.
just being used. Yeah.
Yeah, we
You
are.
you
Yeah.
you talk about holes, eh? Can you say more about this? Are those indeed, was it a kind of dark room which was overcrowded? Did you get any food or drinks or access to organizations or whatever? Can you say a bit more about that?
Yes, this is the political prison. Let's say no one know. It's very secret, and Tripoli. No one. We don't know where this location is, but we know the names when we are inside, of course. But people, they don't know about this prison, because I have met a person who were 12 years in that prison. And when I come here and I saw these people like more than 12 years in that prison, they are political prisoners, and I was shocked, and I was like, why I'm here,
Yeah.
it is very, very dangerous. I have no word to explain this. It is small holes. They put like six people in one room. It is very, very small. It looks like it's underground, So it was the worst time for me in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have been detained more often, I I remember you could easily be just picked up from the streets or apprehended and put into jail.
Yeah, it is like that. It is there is a business. It's like any police officers. If they see a migrant on the street, they will just stop you, and if you don't have some money to give them, then they will take you to the jail. And to come out, you have to pay. I have seen many dramas in the prison. Uh, you have they will sell people in the prison. Let's say they sell, like you just paid for a police to get out of this place. It is very horrible, you know. And again, somebody some of one of just his colleague officer, police officer, he will stop you and he will bring you to the different detention. So if they see you have money and you paid and you go out, even if you pay once and you go out, you are very lucky. So they will sell people like this, the migrant, and it was very hard. It was
It's
very hard.
business for them. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And so this is your experience from 10 years ago. But I know your brother has been detained a few years ago, also in a Libyan center, right? Could you explain a little bit more, Abu, about his circumstances? Are they very similar to what you have experienced? And how did he get any support from outside, from UNHCR or EU?
Yeah, it was very hard for me to hear that my brother was in Libya. It was unexpected. My brother, he fled the country as any one of us do, to the fear that the of the prosecution, like jail and torch that Ethiopian regime was putting people through. If you do not support them or you protest challenge in any way. So after reaching Libya, my brother and some other, let's say, some other migrant was arrested, and they faced a similar problem that I experienced. And he was also beaten sometime. This normal in Libya, this beaten, arrested, he was beaten and several torch, during the integration. And it was very quite painful as a family for me, as a brother, as a person who experienced it happened to me. And when I hear this history, it's happening to my brother, it was really quite painful for me. And I still really have some nightmare about it. Let's say,
Yeah,
what happened.
yeah, yeah. And you had contact through UNHCR with him, I remember. So did UNHCR have contact with him?
Yes, actually, my brother, he called me because he have my phone number, and I try to save his life because I know how the situation is over there, and I was doing my best to save his life from this. So when he contact me, I try to contact you as well, and also the UNHCR. And it was great that he was gets supported, because the AU support the UN in helping immigrant was a really great job. And I could not have a word word to to them, and it was amazing thing. It was really amazing. They saved several lives. So my brother being among of those, those saved by UN through the EU support, let's say, and it was great, and it was a great applause for and I think I will really thankful for that, let's say.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear. But that was also maybe because he knew you and you could reach someone to help you. But I am actually a bit concerned that, if the EU gives money to improve the situation there, that they also depend on the militias, on those who guard the prisoners, right? So can you say something about, if you give money to a detention or to UNHCR or to the Libyans, sorry, will the people get the money themselves, or will they get the help or not?
Uh, from 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 the history of my brother, let's say, um, in Libya, let's say everything is business. So there is no human rights respect. There is nothing. All about the police, the officers, all they think all about the money. They don't care if someone die in prison or not. So from what my brother told me was that everything what the UNHCR supporting the migrant in the jail was like everything goes through the officers or in the prison Libyans. So the he was, let's say, he was lucky because they have only they get some food and some drinking waters. So that was that was great. Let's say that's why I'm really happy that even UNHCR and the EU was involved in that situation and saving the lives. Let's say.
But they actually, most of the migrants, the detainees, they are in the hands of militias, right? Who also
Exactly.
put the money in their pockets.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's let's say the UNHCR. There is an office, let's say Libya, but there is nothing on that office. I mean, you cannot get any support outside unless in the prison. The militias, they are actually they were doing some business. So in this case, they put people together and hiding and hole and and trying to get money from the UNHCR, from EU, and this.
So actually, the EU and also UNHCR have to do business with militias who formerly used migrants to smuggle them or to trade them, and now they get money in order to stop migration, to stop migrants from departing to the EU. Is it the same militias that were first smugglers that are now also getting the money from the EU? Can you say that, or?
Yeah, I know. I'm not really sure. I have no evidence, but from the experience myself, I was witnessing everything. I know what happening in Libya during the time I spent there. So I think it is, and I'm not really sure how they are working, but they have a connection. Even the smugglers, they are most of them are from the, let's say, the officers. You know, most of the officers, they are staying behind and preparing everything, arranging the route to EU, to Europe, and for immigration, with a lot of money, of course. And yeah, everything goes through the government, let's say.
So the smuggling goes through the government, and stopping migrants goes through the government.
Exactly.
Yeah. And who the government is very unclear, because there are so many militias and authorities.
Yeah, exactly. It is very difficult, Libya is.
Yeah. So this also shows, Abu, that how difficult it is for the EU to really have cooperation with Libya and to make sure that the human rights are not violated, right? Because
Yeah,
we're actually also in the hands of those authorities and militias. And it's very good that we know about those personal stories about what it exactly means to be in Libya and be in the hands of those Libyan authorities.
true. Yeah.
So thanks for this experience, that you wanted to share this with us. I think we really need to know what exactly is happening on the ground. I already introduced you as one of the survivors, actually, of the Left to Die boat. And well, it must have been a huge, it's a very impressive experience, at which it's very difficult to describe what it must have been for you. What is the main impact of what has happened on the way to Europe for you in your current life now, Abu?
It is really amazing. I have no word to explain this. It is very. I could not believe it. Let's say I could not believe it that I survived from that boat, live today boat. I could not really believe it. It was still like a dream for me. It was really a dream, and it was the worst experience. Let's say the worst experience of my entire life. I couldn't really, I couldn't still come over that 2 weeks, 2 weeks without food, especially let's say seeing people, children die, and every day dying in front of you was really unbelievable for me. And I feel shock, a shock in my life that still didn't, let's say, it still didn't get off head, you know,
Yeah.
get off my head, let's say.
So you actually, I must say that you are such a strong and positive person that maybe that has also helped you in well in get, I don't know if you get over it, you never get over it perhaps, but at least to build your new future in the Netherlands now. And I really admire you for that you got this power. You live now here with your family, and you have 2 children, which is
Yes.
great.
I think exactly it's what you mentioned. It's true. I'm always positive, uh, trying always to be happy, and trying to forget all those horrific stories. And I'm happy. I have 2 children, and thanks to the people of Netherlands, the government of Netherlands, and we were here, and we build our life, and we have 2 children. My children is going to school, and I feel very happy. Yeah.
And you have both of you have great jobs as well, so it's a busy life. Can you tell? Are you still in contact with the other survivors, because they are all over the world? Are you still in contact with them, and how are they doing?
Yes, I still have a contact with some of them. Let's say we were friends. Let's say we had a lot of histories, in that boat, and it is most of them. I look them like my brothers. Yeah, I have a contact with like three, four survivors. One of those guys in Australia, and also there is one in German, and also one in Italy. Have contact with them. They are okay. They live their life. They are very happy. We always discussed, through social media, and yeah.
Great. And maybe they watch now as well. I don't know.
I hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. Now, after this Left to Die boat report, all the media outlet and so on, there have been a lot of cases, that countries have been brought before court as, being responsible for not going to the rescue, not rescuing your boat. I know, for instance, in Italy, because Italy also told me that no, they were not in our search and rescue zone, so we did not need to coordinate, although they knew Libya was at war, so there was no search and rescue capacity in Libya. So I know a lawyer has brought also this to the court of Italy. Can you say something about, because you're still in touch with the lawyer, if anything, if there's an outcome already, or do you expect anything?
I hope it is too late, but I hope the justice will always serve. And I still have with one of the lawyer, Stefano. I have contact with him, and he is still working in the case. There is a case in Italy still, and I think I'm not sure, but the judge is going to decide soon on this case.
Okay, okay. Thank you. I'm trying now to look at the chat, but it's a bit difficult at the same time. Because, thanks a lot for this, Abu. And I think indeed that it's so important to hold states and also the EU accountable for what is happening with migrants and refugees, not only on the road to the EU, but also if they are stuck in a country due to the deals that we conclude. So thank you very much for that. I'm looking now at the audience to see what questions there are.
Yeah, and I would say also something about, let's say, the EU, the issue about the transit, the about the, let's say, the issue with the closing the borders and that kind of things. I would like to say something. It is, let's say, it is a very, very big issue, and to close the borders, and it is not easy, because as long as we have much dictators in Africa, we will still having several issues, people fleeing for their life, let's say. And it is it's as being in Libya was for me, let's say, was as a refugee was better off die, let's say. For example, there are a lot of people struggle in problem, have these kind of issues. And so to be honest, the life in Libya was more worse than for me. For example, was worse than prosecution, torture, and severe ill treatment that I have experienced, Lauren, is in my own country, like Ethiopia, for example. Back in Ethiopia, for example, and I think the only solution is to uproot, let's say, to uproot the dictators and make sure human rights are respected, and I think this is what I can say to the international communities, to EUs. This needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Thank you very much, and I completely agree with you, Abu. And I think that those migration deals even run the risk that the EU will not have a straight human rights policy because they want to do business with such dictators, and this is really undermining the human rights policies. Now, I have a question from the audience, because what is here at stake is how we can make the EU more, responsible in acting and making sure that human rights are safeguarded. Now, in the questions about your brother, you praised the EU for what they did. So can you say a bit more clear, because what did they exactly do, and what do you think that the EU should do to make sure that migrants are not put in detention anymore in Libya?
Yeah, I say that because I'm alive today. My brother is alive today because of the EU, the UNHCR support, and as family, and not because of my brother also, but there are a lot of migrant, was life saved. I think, like I say, it is the EU, the international committee should work on stopping the dictators, making sure that human rights is respected. There are people raped, and women raped, uh, children killed everywhere. And let's take Ethiopia for example. Right now, what is happening in Ethiopia? We have, let's say, I don't know, more than 60, 70,000 people already fled to Sudan. Let's say those people fled to save their life, and running from the war. Let's say the government, there is a war going over there, so the civilians killed, and by gun, and the government have to take responsibilities, and the EU, the international community, should work to stop this. It's like now we see on social media a lot of many just all about concern, and they have to take action. The EU, the international community, they have a power to take action and to stop this. I think it is time to do so.
Very clear language, Abu. I mean, we should maybe stop, giving priority to stopping migration, but giving priority to human rights outside the EU. But maybe as a last question, also coming from the audience, because the wars will still go on, dictators will stay there. What can the EU do to make sure that people are not stuck in Libya anymore, that migrants are not stuck in detention centers? So do you have an idea for us how we could make sure that the refugees, the migrants, are not the victims of these?
Yeah. So the EU, the international community, they have full power to take any action to save human life, and they have a power to do so. So this is, I think, the action they have to take. It's not all about the concern and just in Africa. Let's say the dictators always they are lying. So the EU, the international community, they are not learning from the lie. They are lying, and if we take Ethiopia, my own country, what happened in 2 years? There was a protest going on almost from 2014 myself, I was here and protesting because people get killed, children get killed, people go outside to ask for their right, they are get killed. And so, the government is now, they put all the political all the political people that's supposed to be, on the election, they put all of them in the jail. And this is, I think, clear, and they have to stop this.
Exactly. So actually, you say we should not put our own interest first, but make sure that we undertake action to the dictators and bring an end to these violations so that citizens can live and enjoy their rights everywhere in their own country. I agree with you, Abu. I think we should we should prioritize that. There are also questions about what sanctions should be useful, but maybe that's for another interview that we can have. And but it's clear that if we start cooperating with dictators on migration, then we are putting the human rights very much at risk, because what you say, they lie, they have other interests, and we should be much more aware of that and act according to that, and put human rights first. Thank you very much, Abu,
Exactly.
for this
You welcome.
interview. Very
You're
much.
welcome.
And
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
okay, thank you, and all the best with your family, your children en your future in the Netherlands. En dank je wel. Ik weet dat je heel goed Nederlands praat. En,
Natuurlijk. Dankjewel jullie ook.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, and thanks to the audience. And I think we should do this more. Really involve people who are affected by our policies, and making sure that we know what's the impact and how we should make sure that our policies do not affect but promote their human rights. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully see you another time. Bye.